Hey, I'm Mega. Tip of the house: split all your chores into 5 seconds. You can get a lot more done, like trimming your armpit hair with a boomerang. Wario is a big role model for me. I want to be a game designer someday. But to learn from the best, it's best to go to the start. That's what they said in history lessons anyway. How else would I know about 1066?
WarioWare has been a semi-frequent series Nintendo has released 11 games of since 2003, across the Game Boy Advance, DS, Wii, 3DS, and now Switch. Hell, even on DSiWare and also Wii U if you count Game & Wario.
I would, but I don't own it. If I did... 1.
While I've never owned a WarioWare title physically myself, I will be getting WarioWare Get It Together, as I've played the demo a lot and I really like it, and I'd like to get out of a played the WarioWare demo but never the game crowd.
I am a disgrace. I got the WarioWare Gold demo, but I never even bought the game.
While WarioWare has crossed many platforms and the gameplay has changed up throughout each entry, more so of Get It Together, at its core, it's always remained the same. Over 200 microgames, across themes such as Wario himself, nose picking, and even Nintendo games, which are honestly super cool to see adapted into the WarioWare format. Except for you, Snaps, though you do have kissing.
Where of the year? Wait. WiiWare, DSiWare, WarioWare. I finally get it! It's like Wario games! Okay, where's my Wario storefront?
Across all the different WarioWare titles, different control systems are used, such as in Touch where you control the minigames with Touch. In Minigame Mania though, it's all down to the basics, the D-pad and the A button.
I do my homework with the D-pad and A button.
Anyway, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start from the beginning of WarioWare Incorporated, Minigame Mania. The game starts with this cutscene showing the lore of WarioWare, where it all started, Wario's humble abode. In classic Wario fashion, he's scratching his nose.
I'm taking the hints.
And watching TV where game sales being up is the news.
I'd like to live in Wario's world.
It seems this game called Pyoro is why, which suddenly gives Wario the idea to make Game Incorporated.
We got WarioWare instead of Game. Just imagine where the game series could have gone. Nintendo, Game Twisted, Game Touched, Game Smooth Moves.
Wario writers backed by computer, my favourite brand. He then makes himself president of WarioWare Incorporated. Roll credits! Roll credits! He calls all his friends to come and help him develop the game. Shit, they got 9V in this? On the title screen, it shows you the whole aesthetic of the menus, being based off a computer Wario bought.
I'll take whatever look into Wario's life I can get.
From the title screen, we head straight into the name entry screen. But why enter your name when Wario can call you a compliment?
It's what people call me at school. I'll take it.
Diamond City, WarioWare Incorporated, home of very Wario himself. He's just working out here, then all of a sudden gets all close and asks his 23 letters, leaps up and out of his chimney, and falls into the radio. The radio fills the screen, it starts up, and you're commanded to stop Wario.
I would never! Oh, okay.
You essentially play some microgames Wario throws at you, and if you succeed, you can get into the meat of the game.
Thank God. I was worried I wouldn't be able to pick between 28 games, shuffle and team battle.
From beating Wario's microgames, you can go on to give Jimmy's a go. It's kind of hard to describe what his minigames are about, but you somehow play them on a flip phone, so what questions should you really be asking here?
Where can I get a phone?
After Jimmy, we get options.
I heard they got Mona in this, but I haven't seen anything yet and I'm starting to get a bit... Oh, yes!
Dribble, Mona, or 9V. With Dribble sort of being a mix of Wario and Jimmy's offerings, with a lot of Mars obliteration. Mona's microgames are a whole other thing, and while you play, you're trying to avoid the police. One of my favourite setups for the menu before the microgames of the whole game, to be honest.
One of my favourite setups. Oh Mega, you haven't seen RPGware.
In 9V selection, you're essentially quote-unquote playing an RPG, walking around, and then each microgame appears as an enemy encounter, with each microgame being based on a classic Nintendo game, with some examples being Super Mario Bros, Duck Hunt, and even Rob the Robot, and the Famicom keyboard too. 9V's microgame selection is usually the favourite of the majority in each WarioWare game, and I can easily see why. It's super cool seeing other Nintendo titles squished down into the form of a 5-second microgame. Beyond Vaults, we meet Jimmy again, this time with a remix selection. It offers some of the microgames from his previous selection, in addition from some of the others. This makes the whole remix name make a lot more sense. After this little remix, we have 3 more options once more. Orbulon, Dr. Krygor, and Cat. Each of these are pretty interesting. Orbulon's genre is...
That's my genre too.
It's all set in space, and definitely has some peculiar microgames. As for Dr. Krygor, he needs a piss. All his microgames are based off reality. Finally, I can eat! While I can't match cucumbers, I do enjoy the selection. As for Cat, the closest I get to nature is in my garden. While there is the theming of nature to this one, there is some sprinkling of Wario. And is he really that natural?
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not too fond of these microgames personally, but at least there is a bit of Wario in there. Next we have another Jimmy remix, which, as you may expect, is harder.
No.
It now has a remix of the last 3 selections of microgames that we just went through, so it does make this harder. It's all worth it in the end though, because you're off to face Wario once more.
My favourite.
He tells us another 23 letters before throwing his computer impressively high, and goes inside of it. After the time of difficulty ramped up microgames, with the final escape, where Wario goes between different sorts of games to finally escape his computer. His game is featured in the news, makes a ton of money, and tries to fly off a bit, only to lose to the biggest enemy of us all, water.
Yeah, screw water.
The credits roll, Wario sneaks in some extra letters, and we head back to the menu.
So, that was WarioWare Minigame Mania. Or was it?
Yes, unlocked while you play are some bonus games. These amount to either a smaller minigame you can play over and over for a high score, extra modes for playing microgames, and even a 2-player minigame, which each player has their own shoulder button. Despite never owning this physically, I absolutely love this game, and I am very glad it wasn't a one and done thing. WarioWare had and has so much potential, but will that be lived up?
For Wario's first game he hired his friends to help make, this was honestly really good. Now that I've taken a deep look at his first product, I think I'm ready to give game development a shot myself. Don't get antsy, it's my first go. Little Big Planet 2 took one game before perfection 2, you know. Introducing MegaWare. The WarioWare series luckily continued after Minigame Mania, being ported to the GameCube with multiplayer support, and then another installment was made for the GBA, being Twisted, although we never got it in Europe because Nintendo just hates us. Well, I hate you too, Nintendo!